Hey, first of all, apologies for the advanced class. I meant to record a class last week and it just never happened. First birthday party, number one, and number two, my best friend gave birth and her husband had COVID. So I was doing hospital trips with her in the hospital. So it's been a bit of a mad week. So tonight is so hot and so I'm gonna combine the classes and do foundation and advanced together. It's actually how I used to do it before I split it up, and it just means that I give more progressions because, as I said to you all before, or most of you before, the class kind of follows on anyway, so every week the class is actually the same. It's just that the advanced class are doing the impact version or the harder progressions for it. So you won't need any equipment. Advanced people don't need weights. It's all body weight stuff. It's just that obviously you're pushing on a little bit. If you're right at the start, you're in the foundation class, then obviously just ignore the advanced stuff. Hope it's nice to see actually what you'll get back to as you move through it. But yeah, it was too hot and I didn't have the energy to do a full hour because I went to the gym this morning. Cool. So we're going to start off in a shell stretch or child's pose. And it's going to be 4 exercises. We'll do our warm up and our relaxation at the end, but the main session is 4 exercises and we're going to do it like a circuit in like 2 rounds, and it can be quite nice for you to see kind of how maybe you'll start getting back into like quote normal exercise as well, or if you're pregnant, the fact that you can still kind of do these circuit training and work yourself fairly hard. So listen to all the cues. I'll give changes depending on pregnancy, early postnatal, or if you're pushing on a bit. Just follow what is correct for you, not what you want to be able to do. So as always, your warning signs are any heaviness, dragging down below, feeling like you could leak, coning, doming down the centre with some of the core ones. If you're getting loads of bulging and pushing out, you're not getting tummy flattening effect, then you're probably doing the progression too far on and you need to draw it back a little bit. If you stick to what feels challenging but you can manage it, then you're going to progress really well. If you take it way too easy or you try and push on really hard, then you won't make that progress. So any questions, as always, after you've done the class, then just drop me a message. Drop me a message anyway, because I love it when people check in, because then I can have a conversation about how you're getting on and then you get the most out of it. So yeah, okay. So we're going to start off in child's pose. So I want you to have knees nice and wide apart if you can. Pregnant people, that's going to allow room for your belly. And then come down. You can either have your elbows bent if you don't want too deep a stretch, or you can have your arms stretched out if you want a really deep stretch. If you find it's a little bit much in your hips, particularly if there's any pelvic pain or anything, then just come up slightly. So you don't have to be all the way back on your bum, you can come up slightly so you're more on all fours. But with the knees apart, you're going to get that pelvic floor on a natural stretch, which is going to help us warm up. So start taking some deep breaths. And you're focusing on getting that breath into your rib cage and relaxing your belly. So deep breaths in. And your shoulders and chest should be nice and relaxed. You shouldn't be feeling those shoulders coming up to your ears as you take that deep breath. You should feel the belly softening, but the focus is on the ribs. If you get those ribs coming out to the side, then you'll be doing well. It's particularly nice in this position because you can get the back of your rib cage coming up a little bit more as well and really expand the whole circumference of that rib cage. And then that in turn will help us relax in the back of our pelvic floor. It all links, you see. Let's take a few more deep breaths, letting that belly relax. And we do this in every stage of our recovery or getting ready for birth, because you just can't get enough of it. Breathing is just so important, and usually if something's gone a bit off track, you go back to the breathing and it'll be like, oh, do you know what? I've not actually been taking full deep breaths, or I've actually moved up into my chest a little bit. Okay, so we're going to add a pelvic floor activation in this position. Now, you've got your pelvic floor in a stretch, so if you really can't feel it in that stretched position, then just rock up slightly so you're a little bit higher up and move your knees in. If you can, try doing it in a stretched position, because it's really helpful for when we do impact, or if like lunges and things like that, because you're getting used to getting your pelvic floor working on stretch. So deep breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, lifting like we're holding in a fart. Deep breath in and let the fart go. Breathing out, holding in a fart. Deep breath in and let the fart go. So go at your own pace of breathing. As you're going, you should feel like nothing else is moving. You're not kind of clenching your bum or trying to arch in your back or squeeze your legs together like in your inner thighs. It should all just be from that pelvic floor. If you are compensating, don't worry too much. Just note that you're doing it and try not to. But especially if you're earlier on and you've not been used to doing things like this, then it does take a bit of a while to switch those compensations off. So just keep focus on that lift on your out breath, on the in breath, relaxing and letting go. And then we're going to try a hold now. So on your next out breath, lift like you're holding in a fart, picking up a blueberry from your vagina, whatever works, and hold it, but keep breathing. How long can you hold it for? Is it a couple of seconds and you feel it go? Are you still holding now? And deep breath in and relax. So we're trying to build up to 10 seconds is the aim. If you're pregnant, obviously you've got an additional weight going on as we go, but you can get up to 10 seconds even in pregnancy. After you've given birth, 10 seconds will come for most after 8 weeks, because obviously there's recovery to happen even if you've had a C-section. Let's try another hold. Breathing out. Keep breathing, keep holding. Try and keep those 4 points of your pelvis, your 2 sitting bones, your pubic bone and your tailbone. Keep that drawn up, but whilst breathing. Then deep breath in and let it go. And that's something really easy to practice during the week. When you're feeding baby, when you're sitting at your desk, when you're brushing your teeth. Standing is harder, but it's a good one to practice. We're going to move on to our hands and knees now. So pop up for me. And we're going to move to our belly pump. So when we are on our hands and knees, we should all look mildly pregnant. If you are pregnant, you should look very pregnant, because gravity should be pulling your organs down or baby down, and you should be nice and relaxed. So take a couple of deep breaths. Then as you breathe out, holding in a fart, and draw the belly up without arching. Deep breath in and let the belly go, let the pelvic floor relax. Breathing out. Deep breath in. Breathing out. So try and coordinate the pelvic floor and the belly. It does take a bit of time. But the reason it's important is because when we eventually get on to doing harder core exercises, like the advanced lot are doing, if you don't get the pelvic floor with the belly pump, all that pressure in the core exercise pushes downwards as you can start to feel heaviness, and you're not really regulating the pressure that well. In easier core exercises, it doesn't matter so much. So just focus on the belly if you're right at the start and that's what your brain can handle. Breathing out. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. We're going to try a hold now, just like we did with the pelvic floor on its own. Breathing out. Now try and keep breathing, but keep that belly drawn up without arching in our back. So keep breathing, keep holding. Can we keep it in, or do we start compensating, or does the belly drop out? Deep breath in and relax. Let's try that again. Breathing out. Itchy nose. Keep breathing, keep holding. So it's normal to take a shallower breath. You're not doing deep breaths when you're trying to hold, but you are still breathing and getting oxygen in. Deep breath in, relax the belly out. We're going to add something else. So this is our first exercise, is a bear plank. So if you are right at the start of your journey, postnatal or pregnant, then you're just going to focus on the pop-ups. So you're going to breathe out, belly pump, up onto your knees, back down, deep breath in. Breathing out, up onto your knees, coming down. You can then try holding it, is the next step. Holding it for a couple of breaths whilst you keep breathing, then coming down. If that feels okay to hold it a little bit, then once you're up, try and transfer the weight between the hands a little bit, rocking side to side. And then coming down, taking a nice deep breath in. If your wrists hurt, like mine always do, you can use your fists. Then advanced lock. Coming up, you're going to tap. Tap. You could do one tap on each side and then come back down, take a deep breath in. But you have to be able to maintain that belly in. If you are pregnant, you should feel that hugging in. Once you're in your third trimester, it's very unlikely you'd be able to do shoulder taps because your belly is just big and the abdominals have stretched. So tapping that shoulder. So if you've been doing it a little while in the foundation class, just have a little rock side to side. You could try and just lift the hand off ever so slightly. See how you go. Couple more. Just popping up and down if you're right at the start. And relax. We're going to move to a press up now, so untuck your toes, put your hands slightly wider. Remember, you can go into your fists if you want, and then the elbows drive backwards, or kind of as in not forwards. Keep the elbows back behind your hands. You don't have to have them right back. You're going to take a deep breath in to go down, and then breathing out to push up. You could be all the way back here if you find press ups really difficult and your chest isn't that strong. It's more about the core. If all you can focus on is the breath, just focus on the breath. Breathing out. Advanced lock, you're obviously going to be out in a much more extended position. So just focus on strong breath out, and then try and think about drawing that belly up. If you can't coordinate everything, just focus on the breath. Breathe out on the up. And then you're quite simply walking your hands out. Walking them out until you're in a more extended position. So you can choose where you have your hands. Just make sure that you don't try and do it back here. You move your shoulders over the top of your wrist, and that's the position that we go into. Once we are in a more extended position, we're going to have to keep that belly drawn in and do like a belly pump hold. So you might want to go up and down, go into a shell stretch to relax, take a nice deep breath in and let the belly relax. Coming forwards. Always breathing out as we push up. Breathing in, my belly starts drawing in to give me support, and pushing up. And then try and do a couple in a row. Whilst doing a belly pump hold to keep that belly in. And rocking back when you need to. Now, I don't think anyone in the advanced class is quite at the point of a full, working towards full press ups yet, so I'll pause it there, but we do eventually move on to how to move to a full press up. Last one. And relax. We're going to do a downward dog now. So it's a yoga position. So what I want you to do is to tuck your toes underneath, just like you would do if we were doing the bear hold. And then we're going to breathe out, pull the belly in, and then I want you to you're trying to get your head between your arms. The knees can be slightly bent because sometimes we have tight hamstrings or short hamstrings. And then you're going to come back down and take a deep breath in. Breathing out. Try to fold yourself in half, head between your arms. Breathing in to come back into kneeling. And you're trying to draw that belly button in towards your spine as you go up into it. If you're finding that, what am I trying to say? That you're just getting confused, because I am, Christ, then just focus on the breath. So breathing out, up into it. If you're in the advanced class or you want to give it a go, then come into a plank instead of onto your knees. So breathing out is actually going to switch. You breathe out to go into your plank, breathe in to come back. But you keep your belly in the whole time. So if you need to come down, take a breath to fully relax. You then go back into it. And you're going to do that hold in the belly. As I said before, if you can't coordinate it all, that's very normal early on. You are just going to work on the breath out and go from kneeling on your hands and knees, and then breathe out to stretch back. Breathe in to come forward. One more. Breathe in to come down. Okay. We are now going to do our final exercise of this circuit. And I call it an up, up, down, down, because I don't have a better word for it. So you quite simply go up, up, down, down with your legs. Come back a bit so you can see me. You are going to go up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. If you are heavily pregnant, then keep your legs quite wide and feel free to put your hands down in front of you to help you come up, and feel free to come all the way up into standing to give you maybe a little bit of a rest from being hunched down, and come down. So feel free to use those hands if you need them. And you're aiming to breathe out as you stand up, but don't worry too much. If you are in the advanced class, then you're obviously not going to be using your hands. Come up, power up. So pushing up onto your toes. Or if you started impact with me, you're going to jump. So choose your level. You might do a couple of jumps and then just go back to a power up. My foundation people, you're not powering up, you're not jumping, you're just going around. And as I said, if you need to add in a full stand up just to give the legs a relax from that position, that's fine. And you've got the option of having your hands down as well. But that's usually more for pregnancy if you're a bit off balance. It's a very functional movement, this one. Last one. And relax. Shake up those legs. Do I have water? I do have water. Right, we're going to take 30 seconds and then we're going to do those exercises again. So this time through, obviously, hopefully you'll kind of know the level of the exercise that you're okay with. So get into that and then see if you can push it a little bit harder, or if you're just getting tired because you're quite new to this and you don't have that endurance in the pelvic floor and the transverse abdominis, then you might need to regress it slightly. Follow what your body can do and you won't go wrong. Won't go wrong at all. Whew. Okay, are we ready? Bear pop up. It's so hot. I get so much more out of breath when it's hot. Okay, so we're going back to our bear plank. So beginning exercise, breathing out, popping up and back down. If you are heavily pregnant or very early postnatal, particularly after C-section, when the abdominals are more affected, then feel free to just go back to doing a belly pump. And so you don't rise up at all, you just draw up on the out breath, let the belly relax on the in. If you're going a bit harder, try holding, try rocking side to side, advanced lot, we're tapping. breathing out to tap, breathing in when we're down. But we are having to hold that belly in the entire time. Take breaks when you need it. I don't want you to take a break just because you're a bit out of breath. Clarify that. I want you to take a break because you're not regulating that pressure well. The belly's not managing to keep drawn in. That's why we stop. Couple more. Breathing out on the up. Breathing in when we're down. Last one. And relax. We're going to move to that press up now. So move the hands wider. Remember to go onto your fists if you want to. Keep those shoulders above your wrists. Breathing out on the up. Breathing in on the down. Remember, if we're right back, you can relax on the way down. Wrap the belly in on the way up. If you're further extended out, it becomes more of a core exercise. You're going to need to keep that belly in the whole time. As long as you breathe out on the way up, your core will be doing something to help. And remember, you can rock back if you need that break in between. And then advanced lot, you're just going to try and build up how many you can do in a row. Keeping good form, keeping your pelvic floor engaged and that belly wrapped in. Last one. And we move into our downward dog now. So, breathing out, head between our arms, stick that bum in the air. Breathing in, coming back down onto your knees, or you can go into that plank if you're doing the advanced version. In the advanced version, we are keeping engaged in our core at all times. So try doing a couple, and then come down. Take a couple of deep breaths in to relax if you need to. Then breathe out back into your downward dog. Deep breath in, then breathing out. Plank. Couple more. And relax. Last exercise, up, up, down, down. If anyone has a better name for that exercise, then let me know, because I've not found one. Okay, so remember, if you're pregnant, heavy belly, then feel free to use your hands and fully stand up if you need to stretch off those hips a bit more. If you can, then you can try coming up and holding there. It keeps your glutes working a little bit harder, but it is hard by the end of pregnancy to keep your arms up just because your weight is so pulled forwards. If you're doing advanced, then you're going to start powering up or the full jump. So a power up is a up onto your toes, back down, move to the side so you can see. I didn't show you that last time. Try not to hit the lamp with my head. And again, you can move between regressions and progressions as you go. But there isn't really a right or wrong way to do this exercise, as long as it's comfortable. If you've got pelvic pain, bring the knees in closer together. You can always use your hands to help get you up on your knees as well. I'm not that bothered about how you do it, as long as you're moving and it's comfortable-ish. We're still exercising after all. Breathing out. Last one, and then we're relaxing. Lovely, let's have a lie down on our side. Alright then, a quick drink. Okay, so we're going to relax. We're going to go back to our deep breaths. We start and we end with deep breathing, because deep breathing is everything. And we've just worked ourselves really hard. And so our pelvic floor will have worked hard, and when a muscle works hard, you know, it can get tight. We know that from when we do other exercise, when you're not used to it. You go back and go for a quick walk after birth for the first time, Or you go to the gym for the first time and it's like, oh my goodness, your legs are dead and you feel all achy. The exact same thing can happen in your pelvic floor, because we've just done a pelvic floor workout and it might not be used to it. And even if it is used to it, hopefully we're progressing, we're working it harder and harder each time. So we need to make sure we relax off, because otherwise, well, it's just going to get tight, isn't it? And tightness causes all sorts of problems and we don't want it. So keep taking those nice deep breaths for me. And remember, we're focusing on getting into that rib cage. When we've been out of breath, we tend to move to our chest. So we'll be up here because we're trying to catch our breath again, get the oxygen back in. Try and slow that breathing down and feel that belly, particularly if you're pregnant, because you won't feel it so much at the ribs. I want you to feel that belly. Put your hand on the top of your rib cage and you should feel that belly softening and the ribs should be expanding. If you're pregnant, the ribs are already expanded by 3rd trimester to allow room for baby. You should still get some rib expansion, but it just won't be as obvious. So don't worry if you can't feel it too much. As long as you feel relaxed in that belly, you can feel baby kind of pulling you down forwards. You can always pop yourself up with some pillows if you needed to. And if you're early C-section, then you can actually feel some pulling just from deep breathing, and it's because you get movement of your abdominals, which is a good thing. Like gentle pulling and tugging is good because it means you're actually getting movement of the scar tissue, which means it's not going to get all sticky and stuck. Couple more deep breaths. And the next exercise we're going to work on is an awareness exercise, because anyone who's been doing this a bit longer, sorry, you've heard this a million times from me, until you have awareness, how do you know what your pelvic floor is actually doing? When you are lifting your kids, when you're putting buggies in the car, you know, you have to know what your pelvic floor is doing, and because it's inside, you can't see it. And therefore developing the nerve feedback so that you can feel if the pelvic floor is tight, if it's weak, if you feel strong in it, you feel flexible in it, then you're going to be able to self-monitor a lot better. So we're going to do my little lift, as I call it. Completely made this up, by the way, but it really works, and it's how I developed my pelvic floor awareness, and lots of other people have, who I've now taught it to. So what you're going to do is, on your out breath, we're going to do a little lift. So we're not doing I'm pulling up the pelvic floor. We are trying to lift the pelvic floor like 1/2 centimetre, if that. And I want you can, if you want to, and there's not loads of people around, pop your hand on your tailbone and drop your middle finger back, and you will feel your pelvic floor underneath your perineum. So as you breathe out, do a little lift. So it should just feel like a real gentle kind of raising, not a full. If you do a full one, feel free to do a full one once. You'll feel like a proper hardening underneath your fingers if you've got a good pelvic floor bulk there. If you can't feel anything, then just take your hand away, don't worry about it. But you're going to do a little lift on that out breath. Then as you take a deep breath in, into that rib cage, let the belly soften, that pelvic floor should soften and it should let go completely. So if you can feel it with your finger, you do have to get like between your bum cheeks to properly feel like the finger on the perineum. As you take that deep breath in, it should feel soft. You shouldn't be holding any tension there. On your little lift, like 1/2 centimetre, you should feel a slight hardening. Deep breath in and really lengthen that in breath and let the pelvic floor go. And then after you've done a few little lifts, stop doing that and just go back to your deep breaths, really focusing on expanding that rib cage, relaxing the belly. And once you get good at it, and if you're quite good at, if you're good at feeling things, because it does take a while to develop that feeling in your fingers to actually feel movement of muscles, you might actually start to feel a gentle movement just with your breath without doing any sort of lift. but it takes a long time, and it takes even longer to feel it without your hand there. And to feel that pelvic floor movement, because your nervous system is feeding back the same way as it would if you closed your eyes and you bent and straighten your arm. I know I'm moving my arm. I don't have to look to know that. And that's what we need to develop with our pelvic floor. Couple more deep breaths. Oh, I'm so sweaty. And then we'll sit back up. Oh God, this mat is actually sweaty. That's so grim, man. Well, I say it's not grim to sweat, it's fine to sweat. It's just because everyone's always really annoying, like it's really annoying when I say this, but like I don't really sweat very much. Like I have to be in hot conditions to sweat. Like I don't generally just sweat because I'm exercising, it has to be hot. And I'm sweaty. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed it. For those who are super early on with me in the foundation stuff, then do message and let me know how you're getting on, particularly with when you do your out breath. Are you able to coordinate that belly pump and the pelvic floor, or are you still kind of like, I just got to focus on that out breath? It does come, I absolutely promise you. And that's the one negative of just doing pre-recorded, is that you don't hear the people further on than you go, oh my God, yes, I was like that at the beginning, and then it eventually clicked. It clicks for everyone as long as they persevere with it and you keep practicing. Advanced lot, let me know how you found that, kind of mixing it back in with the foundation stuff. It's just because it was so hot this week. But as we get towards the summer holidays, I'm going to be a lot more limited in time, and so it'll be easier for me to combine them. But if you absolutely hate it, then that's fine, and I'll try and keep it separate and try and fit it in. So let me know equally, and let me know if how you're doing with the impact particularly. Cool. Well, it was lovely for you to see me. I find it so weird not seeing you all, so please do message, because otherwise I just don't know if anyone's doing it. Well, I can see if people are doing it, because it tells me if people have viewed it. Yes, I can keep an eye on you all. But no, it's more to have that feedback and for me to know that I'm putting the right things in the class to help you, because I have people from all different backgrounds, all different births, different kind of pregnancies, and yeah, so it's really helpful to know, so I can make sure my cues are right for you and I'm putting in the right sort of exercises and the right mix of things. Cool. I will see you all next week.